I really appreciate you joining me today, and these are two stories that are very similar, and I wanted to discuss them together in order to be able to fully understand them. I received an email 2 days ago from a viewer who said, "Why haven't you covered the story of Yahya Sharif in Birmingham? The man who killed him has been sentenced today." And the reality of that is I didn't know. This is why it's so important that you message me and email me in order to remind me sometimes, which is the reality of some of these cases. Because I covered his story a year ago, I went to the crime scene, but I believe that week that his killer was sentenced, there was a lot of news coming from Birmingham, and I literally must have just not seen it. Yahya Sharif was stabbed on Coventry Road in Small Heath, and his killer has been jailed today for a minimum of 22 years. Abdi Rahman Yusuf, 20 years old, from Yardley, is the man that was convicted, and police found lyrics that were written as a drill rapper talking about the murder. And these are the similarities between both of these cases, because I don't believe in lecturing the youth about rights and wrongs. I believe in showing them the reality of what they're doing. Yahya Sharif was stabbed in rush hour traffic just off a very busy road in Birmingham. He was ambushed, they said, in the court case. The 18-year-old was stabbed once in the chest with a Rambo knife, and his killer ran away. They don't believe he even said anything, or if he did, it wasn't much. CCTV shown in court revealed the moment when Yusuf was seen on camera talking to a group of youths in Small Heath. He then left the group and approached a BMW that had just pulled up. The victim, Sharif, had got out, and this is when he was stabbed straight through the chest. Following a police appeal for Yusuf, he was arrested in London on the 16th of February 2022. Hidden in an envelope in his sock was handwritten rap lyrics apparently referencing the stabbing. Following a trial at Birmingham Crown Court, which started in October, Yusuf was found guilty of murder on the 9th of December. He was sentenced today, and personal statements from Yahya's father said, "I feel pain when I see boys the same age as my son going out, driving a car, going to work, talking about uni and working with their fathers. Yahya was a bright boy and he had a brilliant future ahead of him." His mother said, "There are many times I've not been able to sit in court due to the flashbacks of when my son died." 1,000 people attended a prayer service for Yahya that showed just how popular he was in the local area. The judge said during the sentencing that the victim posed no threat to you, and the CCTV footage proves this. The paramedics were soon on the scene, but they couldn't save him, and he died from catastrophic blood loss. The judge also said that you chose to carry a knife that day, and Mr. Sharif was fatally stabbed and killed. You and two of your friends had gathered outside the barbershop, and there was nothing to indicate that he was a threat to you. The judge also noted that he'd showed little remorse, but the defence claimed to the prosecution that this was not premeditated. The defence said it was committed in the spare of the moment. There is no doubt whether the court can be sure that there was an intention to kill. So that story, as I said, there was a lot of rumours and gossip about that. But in relation to what was revealed in court, that is all we can discuss. In this other case, there's a little bit more details. I do understand that this was meant to be a local rivalry that we've covered on the channel before between the Marley Boys and Priory Court down in London. These details were revealed during the court case, and this is why I'm able to speak on them. This next story is about a teenager who was completely innocent when he was chased down and stabbed in London. The court heard at 9 o'clock on the 24th of November 2021, Rismeet had just left his friends after enjoying a pleasant evening in the park in Southall. He was walking home when two unknown males ran towards him. He immediately ran back towards his friends and told them to run off. Rismeet ran down Raleigh Road in Southall and he tripped over and fell, and one of his pursuers stabbed him at least 5 times in the back. The second male also began to stab Rismeet when he caught up with him at least 10 times. His attackers then fled and left him bloodied and injured in the street. The whole attack took less than 27 seconds. The London Ambulance Service arrived on the scene at 22:08, and detectives from the Specialist Crime Command launched a murder investigation due to him sadly dying at the scene. Police inquiries revealed a man called Balarishnan and Suleiman, both aged 17 at the time, spent most of the day in a flat on Austin Road, Southall. They were with 7 other people. The pair left the flat shortly before 9 p.m. They were both on pedal bikes. They both changed their clothing they were wearing on that day. They armed themselves with knives, put their hoods up, covered their faces with COVID masks that the jury said was to hide their appearance as they went out to commit a murder. They cycled down a canal path where it was believed they saw Rismeet say goodbye to his friends on the bridge and walk off alone. They saw him as an easy target. They dumped their bikes near the bridge and chased after him on foot, and Balak Rishnan attacked him first, followed by Suleiman. They were caught on CCTV running away from the scene with clearly identifiable distinctive clothing and COVID masks that they were wearing. CCTV showed them return to the bridge to collect their bikes and cycle back to the flat in Austin Road. They left the bikes outside and went into the flat. When police arrested them, they analysed their phones and detectives established Solomon booked a taxi at 9:20 from the home address. And then they went to Balak Rishnan's home address as well. They were arrested on suspicion of murder on the 2nd of December 2021. Police recovered clothing that was worn on the day of the murder, as well as a notebook that had lyrics that were written, and some of them were very descriptive and unique to the circumstances of Rismeet's murder. They mentioned in the lyrics that he was running and tripping, and further lyrics were found on the mobile phone. A review of Balak Rishnan's phone also showed he was reading news reports about Rismeet's murder, Googling about murder for an hour, including tributes from his family about his good character, and their belief that he was stabbed for a fake Gucci pouch that he was wearing. On the 28th of November 2021, Balak Rishnan wrote a note on his phone, and it said, "I saw news statements, it says he was a good youth, but he was out with the pagans, which means enemies. Stupid media, it was a glide, it wasn't some stupid shit he wears." A glide is basically a ride-out, that's what they explained in court, where a rival gang will go to a territory to try to find gang members to stab. But they don't believe that Rismeet was part of any gang, and I've never heard anybody say otherwise. So they believe they went there to just find somebody who was associated to somebody they don't like, to just stab them to death. And he wrote notes that were very distinctive to the case, and these helped to convict him. 6 hours before his arrest on the 2nd of December, he wrote another note on his phone that said he tripped and got dipped into my dank, which would be a rhyming word for shank, which means knife. Also on his phone was the image of a long knife on his bed that appeared to have blood on it, and this was taken at 9:20 on the day of the murder. The knives that were used were never recovered by the police. So this is really damning evidence to the degree that these youngers are taking pictures of blood on evidence on the knife because they need to sort of have a souvenir for what happened. It's bizarre, and they need to tell somebody about it as well. So they're writing the lyrics after it happened. Solomon was being sought by the police in connection to Rismeet's murder, but he couldn't be located. Police executed a search warrant at his home address on the 2nd of December 2021, and he was reported missing by his mother. 2 days later, on the 4th of December, the court heard Solomon went into hiding as he knew he was wanted for Rismeet's murder. He was eventually arrested at an address in Edgware on the 9th of December 2021. He had changed his afro hairstyle and now wore it in braids. The mobile phone he used on the day of the murder to book the taxi was no longer contactable, and they believe that he hid this to prevent the officers from getting more evidence. Vanushan Balak Rishnan was found guilty of murder, and Ilyas Solomon was also found guilty of murder of 16-year-old Rismeet Singh following a trial at the Old Bailey. They'll be sentenced on the 28th of April this year. Similar to what Abdi Rahman got in Birmingham, 22 years, they will at least get that. So when I say the reality of what is going on, this is the reality. If you want to participate in negativity and run around stabbing people who have nothing to do with anything, just in order to gain a reputation for yourself to be able to rap about, then you've got to really reassess what you're trying to do in life. These two boys were just young. They just wanted to live life. They was trying to get by like everybody else. And sadly now, these other lads are going to spend the majority of their life in prison. So really appreciate you joining me for this episode. Thank you for all the support, and please don't forget to send your stories to news@scarcitystudios.com. My condolences to the family of Rismeet Singh and also Yahya Sharif. And I'll be back again very shortly with some more news. Peace.